Hello students, today we will read the first poem of your syllabus, A Photograph. This poem is written by Charlotte Olson. Charlotte Olson was born on 20th May 1924 in England. She was a writer and editor of a magazine. Then she came under influence of Celtic Christianity. And in this poem, A Photograph, she describes the emotions which are felt by the poet as she remembered the story behind the image and what it means to the poet. So this poem is written by Charlotte Olson. In the poem, the poet recalls the memories of her mother, and the title of the poem is A Photograph because in this poem the photograph has a significant importance because it is a piece of memory for the poet. Here the poet describes about the loss of her past. Then she went to the past where she recalled the memories of her mother and how her mother recalled her memories of past and how she tried to forget her past easily. So here we go. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. So here the cardboard shows me. Here the cardboard is the same photograph which is a piece of memory for the poet, in which there is a photograph of her mother with her two cousin sisters. So this cardboard shows me how it was. It shows the poet how it was, what happened actually, because it's a piece of memory and it is about a past event. When the two girl cousins went paddling, paddling is a sort of water activity like swimming. When the two cousin sisters, they went for water activity, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and those two girl cousins, they were holding one of poet's mother's hands because the poet is recalling the memory of her mother, and that piece of memory, that cardboard is related to her mother. So the poet's mother went on paddling with her two cousin sisters, and those two cousin sisters, they were holding the poet's mother's hands because they both were holding the mother's hands. And she, the big girl, who is the big girl? The mother of the poet. There were two girl cousins also of the mother who were holding the hands of the mother, and the mother was the big girl because she was big among all. Some 12 years or so. Her age was about 12 years or so at that time when they went on paddling. So there were three girls, two cousin sisters, and as they were holding the hands of poet's mothers, so there was a big girl also who was the poet's mother. She was about 12 years or so. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. As the girls, the two cousin sisters and the poet's mother, they went on a seashore for some water activity, then they all were standing there still to smile. Why were they standing there still without any movement? As they were smiling through their hair. So they stood there and they smiled through their hair Even their hair was ruffled because of water, as they were on seashore. They went on a sea holiday. At the uncle with the camera, and they were smiling through their hair at the uncle with the camera. They were smiling because they wanted to be captured in the camera held by uncle. So their uncle was also there, who was just capturing them in the camera, and all of them were standing there smiling, and they were standing still without any movement because they wanted to be captured in camera in that photograph. And whenever a person wants to be captured in a camera, then he becomes still. A sweet face my mother's. The big girl was poet's mother, and her face was very sweet. Why? That was before I was born, because it was a time when even the poet was not born. So it was the time before her birth. So that's why at that time poet's mother was a girl. She was about 12 years or so, and children, they have sweet face. So the poet's mother also had sweet face at that time because she was young at that time. Got it? And the sea, which appears to have changeless, washed their terribly transient feet. Here's an idea in these two lines. The sea, which appears, so they were on a seashore. It seems that they were on a seashore. They went there for water activity. So the sea which appears to have changeless, that sea which appears, because sea appears to have changeless, it appears that sea has a little change in it, because sea is a part of nature and nature remains same forever. There is less change in nature. The sun, it rises from east and goes to the west. It always happens same. In the same way, sea also appears to have changed less. There is less change in sea. So in that photograph which was taken at that time, the sea remained same, and normally there is less change in sea. So this idea shows that nature remains forever. This sort of idea is also given in the poem The Brook, because Brook says, men may go and men may come, but I go on forever. In the same way, sea is also a part of nature. It has a permanent aspect. So human life is temporary, but nature is permanent. So the sea, which appears to have changeless, washed their terribly transient feet. Terribly means here very much transient, temporary feet. So their feet, their footprints were washed by the sea water, by the waves. Those footprints which were temporary, because footprints on seashore, they're temporary. So it shows that nature remains forever, nature is permanent, but human life is temporary, because the footprints of the girls and the uncle were gone. They were washed by the sea water. This idea is very important. So now I tell you the poetic devices which are used in this stanza. Here in the line number 5, 3 stood still to smile. Stood still to smile. Here S sound is repeated, so that's why alliteration is there. When a consonant sound is repeated, alliteration is there. In the same stanza, the last line of the same stanza, their terribly transient feet. Terribly transient. So here also alliteration is used, because again the consonant sound is repeated. Now come forward. It was the time when the poet's mother went on a seashore on a sea holiday for paddling. After that event, even they were captured at that time. So after that time, some 20-30 years later, after 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. So after the event, after 20-30 years later of that event, she would laugh. She is the poet's mother here. She would laugh at the snapshot. She would laugh at the same snapshot which was taken at that time when they went on a seashore. And she would say, after looking at that snapshot which was taken at that time when they went on a sea holiday, she would say, see Betty and Dolly, and look how they dressed us for the beach. So Betty and Dolly were those two cousin sisters who were holding the hands of poet's mother. So these are the cousin sisters. And look how they dressed us for the beach. And she asked the poet to look towards Betty and Dolly in that photograph, and how Betty and Dolly used to dress them for the beach. So here the poet's mother is recalling her past memory, her childhood days, her youth days. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter. As the mother went on a sea holiday and she was captured in the camera, so that event was the past of poet's mother. That sea holiday was poet's mother's past. Mine is her laughter. Poet's past is her mother's laugh, because her mother laughed after 20-30 years later when she recalled the memories of her sea holiday. Both ride with the labored ease of loss. After 20-30 years later, when the poet's mother was laughing at the snapshot, she was trying to forget her past. And now at present, after that time, at present, when poet is recalling her mother's laugh, at this time, the poet is trying to forget this loss of her mother's laugh. We both ride with the labored ease of loss. So we both try, we both work on it. We try to make effort, ease, that means easily, of loss. So we try to forget that loss easily. The mother's past were her sea holiday. The poet's past is mother's laugh. So both have past. And they both try to forget that loss. Because once past is gone, it never comes back. Even it is not easy to forget past. But the poet is saying that we both try to forget that loss, that past, easily. The poet's mother has lost her youthful days. The poet has lost her mother now. And they both try to forget their past, but it is not easy, because past is always painful, whether it is prosperous or painful. It's not easy. So here the poetic device which is used is oxymoron, because it is not easy to forget past. There is a paradoxical utterance. It has two contrary terms. That's why oxymoron is used. Now come to the next stanza. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It's silent silences. The first stanza, it is described that the poet's mother went on a sea holiday with her two cousin sisters, and they were captured by the uncle in the camera. The poet's mother had a sweet face, and the sea water was washing their terribly transient feet. That means their temporary footprints. Then after 20-30 years, the poet's mother, she saw that snapshot which was captured at that time, and she tried to forget the loss of her youthful days, and as she smiled, then the poet, she tries to forget her mother's love because her mother is no more now. They both try to forget their past, but it is not easy. Now at present, what happens? She has been dead. That means the mother of the poet. The mother of the poet has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. At that time, the girl was 12 years, the poet's mother. So now, nearly as many years, that means now about 12 years have been passed. So the poet's mother has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. At that time, the girl was 12 years old. So here also 12 years have been passed that her mother is no more. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. And this circumstance, when poet doesn't have her mother with her, she has lost her mother is no more. So in this circumstance, when her mother is not with her, there is nothing to say at all. She has nothing to say at all, because event like death leaves a silence behind. There is nothing to comment. So this memory, these facts, they make the poet mute. She has nothing to describe. She has nothing to comment. There is nothing to say at all. It's silences. So here is a repetition. There is just a silence, because death leaves a silence behind. There is nothing to comment upon an event like death. So silence word is repeated. When the same word is repeated which has the same meaning, there is a poetic device which is named repetition. So in the third stanza, the poet, she recalls the memories of her mother, and as her mother is no more, so in this circumstance, she has nothing to comment, she has nothing to say. Okay students, I hope you have understood this poem very well. Thank you.